Hello, and welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show podcast with astrologer Shelley Overton.
Hi, and welcome to the February 17th, 2022 edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology podcast. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. I want to welcome you here this week, and I've decided to do something I don't do very often, and that is go over a prediction that I did. And so last week, I inserted a segment about the Super Bowl towards the end, and we went over what the chart was. And so this week, I want to explain or go over what exactly happened. What was the issue? Because I predicted that Cincinnati would win. And as you now know, they didn't. So what happened in my prediction? So we're going to go over that. I want to discuss it because I think it's a learning moment, and I like learning moments. So this is the chart for the Super Bowl. And what happened was, due to all the pre-show and the information that they give out before the game, it started at 6:30, not at 6 o'clock, which is when it was scheduled to start, or at least the show started at 6, but the game started at 6:30. So this is a chart for 6:30 p.m. LA time. What we noticed is that the moon is at 25 degrees of Cancer, and it's in the top half of the chart. So how I broke it down was, whatever the time and place is of the actual event of Super Bowl, the team for home, in this case, was the Rams, and it was their home turf. So they were on their home turf, and that makes them the bottom half of the chart. And Cincinnati, being out of town, was the top half of the chart. The reason we do this is because the identity is the lower half, and that's the first house, which is right up there at Virgo, 7 degrees Virgo. The descendant is then Pisces at the top of the chart. And so the moon fell in the Pisces top half, which normally would indicate the favor is with Cincinnati. What I didn't do, which is my mistake, or probably, well, it's my mistake, but I knew it, I mentioned it, I just refused to give it the weight it deserved. And that is, the moon was opposite Pluto by 2 degrees, in direct opposition to Pluto. And Pluto falls not only in the bottom half of the chart for LA, but it falls within 2 degrees of Mercury at the end degrees of a sign. And they're both in Capricorn, which makes it really potent energy to have to fight. So what happened was, collectively, possibly the moon in the top half of the chart is the we, that the majority, even though LA was favored, I think that there is a sentimental favorite in Cincinnati since they haven't won a Super Bowl in so long. But the moon opposite Pluto is significant because it's a powerful planet. It means the psychology can come up. It is the warrior planet. And Mars was also in the same sign of Capricorn, conjunct Venus, both at 15. They have an exact conjunction. Oh gosh, let me see. I want to say it's coming up, but they may have already had it. They've basically been going degree by degree this whole week. So they were at 15 together, and then they're 16 together, and today they're 17 degrees of Capricorn together. So they're following really tightly in the sky. The opposition to the moon is just honestly more powerful and more of an indicator than initially reviewed. So as the game went along, I'm very confident in my assessment that Cincinnati would win. They were behind. LA got the first scoring points. And then I just watched going, they're going to win. It's fine. They're going to win. And sure enough, Cincinnati came back and got ahead of LA. But if we look at this chart, the LA half, the bottom half, in their house of work, the 6th house, is Saturn, and the sun in Aquarius, which is an upset. Now, that happened in other charts this month. Before 2 weeks ago with the championship games, those planets were still there. but the moon was in a different position and it wasn't directly opposing the powerful Capricorn stellium. So when I saw the moon was in the winning side in the past games, they manifested that. It worked. As the moon this time was getting fuller and fuller, waxing, it was in direct opposition to warrior planet Pluto. If you look at this chart, you've got the sun and Saturn, both very powerful entities in the sky, and it was an inconjunct of the sun to the moon. So not only is there an opposition to Pluto, there's an opposition to Mercury, and there's an inconjunct to the sun. That's a lot for the moon to have to overcome as an indicator. And it's interesting because the moon is such a transient, quick moving body in the heavens. It goes through a sign every 2.5 days. So, you've got this energy really as an indicator, because that's how quickly decisions can be made. And it goes through the sign and it makes the aspects to all the planets every time it goes through a sign. So moon in conjunct the sun, sun being in the house of work for the LA Rams, Saturn at 17 degrees Aquarius, also in conjunct at the very first degree of inconjunct within an 8-degree orb to the moon. And Saturn is life purpose. Saturn is a tremendous amount of structure and systems, indicating that the team plays together in a pretty cohesive manner. Of course, Aquarius can mean that there are upsets and things that we don't foresee happening. Maybe in this case, knowing the outcome, that Cincinnati being ahead for a period of the time was the upset. But ultimately, LA pulled it off, and we have Mars and Venus conjunct, and it's in the 5th house, which is friendships and relationships, romance, children. And so this is also an interesting aside. Venus and Mars, right after the Super Bowl was won, one of the players got down on a knee, an LA player, and proposed to his girlfriend. And another one's wife was in labor and he had to race out of there, and his baby was born the same night. So we had 2 major life events for other people on the team for LA the same night, which obviously indicates, I've got chills all over for this, indicates that there is definitely a strong, powerful energy going on and major life changes coming in. The North Node was at 27 Taurus, and so South Node was 27 degrees of Scorpio, and the Pluto energy is at 27 Capricorn. So South Node, Scorpio 27, is positive aspect sextile to Pluto, again, major life change. South Node is an indicator of a major life event, a major shift and change of life. So definitely the players who were affected in that way had something, or maybe even the nodes in the sky, maybe their natal nodes were being affected, or their natal Pluto, or Pluto hit one of their other planets. But definitely in this reading, you can see that there was a very strong indicator that it was a major, powerful event. I would say just the fact that Mercury is at 29 degrees of Capricorn, which is a major cardinal sign, would be extremely powerful. And then Pluto at the last degrees, again, just for a review, we have Pluto at 27 Capricorn. That's where our country's Pluto is natally. So we are in a Pluto return for our country, and it also affects England as well. So anyway, I want to congratulate LA, because I was definitely rooting for Von Miller, who was the player for LA, and he had a really great day. But I had an uncle from Cincinnati, so I was kind of rooting for Cincinnati. And then I thought that they would really win based on the moon. But learning moment, don't counter Pluto. And normally I don't, but with horary, the moon is the indicator. If I had done an horary chart or looked at it as horary, I will admit that I do use horary techniques somewhat when doing predictions, but I didn't straight up look at it as an horary chart. If I had looked at it that way, it definitely would have indicated that there would be an opposition of some sort. I was just kind of not taking all factors into account and giving the credibility and gravitas that I needed to the rest of the planets. So my bad. And I admit when I'm wrong, and that's cool. I learned that you don't ignore Pluto, which you would think after, my lifetime of having Pluto rule my rising sign, moon, and Neptune, I wouldn't remember. But even astrologers are fallible. Okay, let's see what we have in the sky today. And I know I have today's chart here. There it is. Okay. Okay, so today is the 17th of February. It's a Thursday. And we've got, well, here in Orlando, we have a Cancer rising at 24 degrees. We have still all the same planets right clustered together, but the difference is today, Mercury is now at 2 degrees of Aquarius, and Pluto's still at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Venus and Mars move to Capricorn are 17 degrees. Neptune is at 22, and it's interesting because 22 degrees in 0 minutes, which means that in 5 days on 2/22/2022, Neptune will be at 22, and that's really amazing to me. Moon is at Virgo, 12 degrees right now, and Uranus at 11 degrees. So Uranus and Jupiter are in sextile today. Jupiter in Pisces, sextiling Uranus at 11 Taurus. So that's a really great energy. Honestly, that's arts and artists, music and lyrics. I really enjoy the energy of Pisces because it really gives us an emotional connection to the creative side. And Taurus is also very creative, very artistic. I have a really amazing artist friend who is Taurus, and she's really a phenomenal artist. And Uranus gives that new awareness and even an eccentricity to the kind of art created. Jupiter and Uranus are both very freedom loving. So this can be a really wonderful energy that will bring about new, unusual, inventive ways of creating art. Just before the podcast, I noticed that in one of my emails for monetary items that crypto is having a hit right now. And it kind of, well, Bitcoin specifically has gone up and down recently. Not surprising because we've also had Venus and Mars squaring it, or excuse me, trining, but that can also cause upheaval. We had Moon in Leo full square to Uranus as it was transiting that area of the sky. And so it's been kind of an up and down ride. We have Aquarius, which squares Uranus, and that's Jupiter, Saturn. And Saturn is squaring Uranus, still got about 6 degrees of orb. It'll be gone fairly soon, in the next couple weeks, I would say. And then today we have the sun at 29 degrees of Aquarius, and that means, and it's early, it's 29 degrees 9 minutes. So it's still got a couple days before it actually goes into Pisces, and that happens on Friday. So Friday, sun goes into Pisces at 11:43 a.m. Eastern and 8:43 a.m. Pacific. So it's going to be another shift of energy as we see the sun go into Pisces tomorrow. Oh my goodness, tomorrow. And the sun in Pisces means that we're going to shift from the Aquarian clarity and clutter clearing into the emotional drowsy quality that we can get from Pisces. I can tell you, well, I didn't get very good sleep last night, but then again, it was a full moon, and that always happens to me. I've got a bit of a headache today, and I think that's probably sun late degree Aquarius. I always seem to get something when the energies go through Aquarius, and especially right as they're about to change, and partially probably because the sun's right on my Saturn right now, which is that restriction. And so we're feeling this really intense energy of the psychic awareness. And yes, I think Aquarius is also a very psychic sign. It is aware on an intellectual level, but the information just drops into our head. So it is a type of channeled energy. And we've got Jupiter right now is directly opposite by 1 degree. Jupiter's at 11 Pisces, and the moon in Virgo at 12 is directly opposite. So that means there's some travel energy, but there's also some learning energy. My daughter just booked a trip for her birthday coming up. Her birthday is March 21st, and she booked that trip today. And it's not even a trip, it's really literally the other side of town. She's going to stay at Disney World Resort. So it's a lot of fun, but that is something that could be really a wonderful event, with Moon in Virgo. It's going to be a growth and learning experience. We can be actually pretty clear with Moon answers to Mercury now in Aquarius, and Mercury in Aquarius is very clarifying, as I said last week. It is as if Mercury is on steroids. And so, right after my son has Mercury on his plants, as I've said, he has a drone that he flies. He's been creating this drone and buying parts and soldering and putting all the wires together. And then he bought this one that was already pre-made, and he was having a good time with it. And he tried to alter a part of it and ended up breaking the brains of it. So his drone is now dead, and it's literally only a couple days old, and it was like $100. So he's a bit upset. And I can tell you, there have been a couple car incidents with my daughter, who also has a moon in Aquarius, recently, this last couple days. And so that Mercury in early Aquarius can make us, very erratic in our behavior. And I noticed that traffic can be a little bit more erratic under this energy. So while in and of itself, it doesn't necessarily indicate trouble, because there is such a heightened electrical, neurological infusion of energy, something may happen. So I'm giving you a little heads up with that. And of course, Mercury goes about a degree a day. And so here with Saturn in the mid to late range Aquarius, that means in about 2 weeks, we will see Mercury join up with Saturn. And so let's see how long that's going to be. 2nd of March, we're going to have that. So lots of energy going on with Aquarius. We've got, and like I said, Friday, tomorrow, we have Sun in Pisces. And that means that we're going to be much more in our intuitive selves. We're going to be emotional, sentimental, creative, very lit up by the collective, and being more empathic and really keyed into what the collective thinks. So just be prepared for that, as Sun goes into the same sign as Jupiter and Neptune. So that is foreign affairs. And I want to say, with all the stuff going on in Ukraine and Russia, definitely a heightened energy around Russia. It came about during a lot of Capricorn transits, and under the Capricorn energy of the last 4 years presidentially. And yet there's still this energy of Aquarius with Russia, because they use poison as a way of dealing with their enemies. And that is very much chemicals and Aquarian energy. So I think for sure Aquarius has a strong connection to Russia. I don't have a Russia chart right now, but maybe we can go over that in another show. It'd be really interesting to see what's going on there. I personally have been avoiding any news of it, because I just find the news now is very hyperbolic. They escalate everything into a crisis mode, and I'm just not interested in that kind of energy. I do think that the prices of gas and oil going up definitely connect to this energy of Sun moving into Pisces and Jupiter in Pisces. And so we'll see, Moon going into Libra in the second half of the chart, the we part of the chart. We'll see what happens there, because it is cardinal and it is the collective. Because we have Venus, Mars, Pluto, Mercury, Saturn, Sun, Jupiter, Neptune, all within pretty close to around 75 degrees to each other. It's just a really strong, powerful stellium going through the sky. It is n degrees of the zodiac, so it is a wrapping up of old stories. Every time a planet changes from Capricorn to Aquarius, or Aquarius to Pisces, or even Pisces to Aries, which we'll see a little bit later this year in May as Jupiter goes into Aries, we are shifting, especially the Capricorn planets. That's a cardinal sign. It means it's very strong energy around moving forward and shifting energies. So I have definitely felt things shifting and changing this week. And I know that emotionally, it's been a really difficult week. I had a client of mine lose her dog yesterday. She had to put it down. And that was a 15-year-old dog. So it's just really an emotional moment in time. And so I just want to say I'm here, I care. Coming up next week, we have President's Day on Monday, and we have the moon entering Scorpio. So it's going to be deeply emotional. Again, the beginning of the week is going to be heightened awareness of things that are covert, possibly sexual, but definitely sexual starting midweek as moon moves into Sagittarius on Wednesday at 8:29 a.m. We have Mars and Neptune sextile a little bit later in the day on Wednesday of next week. And that's going to be a really great time, again, to get your businesses up and running in whatever you're doing. Definitely anything in the material world, the financial markets, but also I was reading just before this as well. NFTs are really starting to come into their own, and some of the NFL players took Bitcoin as like $1 million payment in their salaries this year. So it's starting to get much more common in everyone's thinking. So having your finances, again, you got to know that Saturn's in Aquarius, and the planets that are in Aquarius can be erratic and unstable. So if you do invest in crypto, know that it's going to be a cycle of high and a cycle of low, and it's kind of unpredictable unless you're an astrologer, which is ruled by Uranus and Aquarius energy. We've got on the 22nd, lots of Scorpio energy, trining to Jupiter, squaring to Saturn. We have a lovely sextile to Venus and Mars on Tuesday of next week in Capricorn. So Scorpio Capricorn is going to be about government and politics. It'll be about politicians. It'll be about researchers and learning and growth and value of what we feel our value is. Every time we have that moon in Scorpio, that's an intense microscope on politicians. So know that Tuesday could be, and Monday and Tuesday can be really strong political days with moon in Scorpio squaring Mercury in Aquarius. That could be potential accidents, and it's pretty serious if something happens with that. So just be very, very cautious on Monday. Don't let emotions get to you. And then Thursday of next week is a pretty busy day with moon in Sagittarius, Mercury sextile to Chiron in Aries. Could be some type of glitch and issue associated with men or assertiveness and taking charge. Also marketing is under Aries. So there could be, some kind of debacle around a marketing issue, and people not getting their coupon properly or some such thing. Okay, we've got moon square Jupiter in Pisces. So anytime we have a planet in Sagittarius squaring Pisces, it's interesting because, as in this case, we've got moon in Sag, which answers to Jupiter, and it's squaring Jupiter energy, which is in Pisces, and Jupiter is co-ruler of Pisces. So we've got some interesting energy around travel, around emotion, and honestly, it is the 24th. It is a little bit of a concern for traveling that day, along with actual positive energy coming in with Venus sextile to Neptune in Pisces. So Venus in Capricorn, sextile to Neptune. Again, so much Capricorn, so much Pisces. It's about taking the dream, Pisces, and making it real and manifest. So the dream, whether it's a vision or whether it literally is, I had a dream. I've been hearing a lot of dreams that are prophetic lately, so we can see that. Okay, and then coming up Friday of next week, it's a make it happen day with moon entering Capricorn and a sextile Capricorn moon to sun in Pisces. So it's going to be a mixed bag of late degrees, end of zodiac signs this coming week. And so we're going to be pretty erratic, I would say, but also really in our emotional side, really in that unusual, eccentric expression, whatever it may be. And so just know that Venus and Mars together may make you very solid and not necessarily want to get together with someone because you're able to take care of your own needs. And then the sextiles between Capricorn and Pisces will be productive. So it's kind of, I want to say the phrase came once in a lifetime energy coming up. So yeah, I would say take advantage of it, start a business, definitely Venus, Mars. I've got another side business I'm starting this week. So it's going to be really productive and really a good time. So thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll talk to you again soon, and see you later. Bye. Even astrologers are fallible.
Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com, including discounts. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at AstroEnergy Astrology Show.